Ladies and gentlemen, for weeks I have told you that he'll be returning to us on the Real Marc Bagwell, a wrestling docuseries. As a wrestling theme song once said, he is back and he's better than ever. We're talking about the one and the only Mr. Marc Bagwell. Marc, welcome
What's
back.
up? What's up, man?
It's
How you doing?
fantastic to see ya.
It's good to be seen.
You know what? With inflation the way it's going, you don't look like $1 million. You look like $1 billion.
You know what? If I could just sell myself, we'd all be rich.
It's amazing, what's going on today in the world. And I'm gonna, first of all, I gotta do a shout out if that's all right with you.
Okay.
It's a family theme today, a little bit. Now, I've been holding down the fort with cousin Jerry Hood. Got in touch
Oh
with your
man.
one of your brothers, your niece. But I gotta give you a special thank you because today's a very special day, Marc. It's my
Yes.
mama's 86th birthday.
You are kidding me.
Now, folks, just so you know, the friendship I have with Marc Bagwell off camera, Marc knew I was going through some tough times. Mom wasn't looking very good there. She was in the hospital. Probably, it wasn't looking great, Marc, to be honest. You walked me through that. You saw me through it as a friend. You kept checking in, seeing how she was doing. She's doing awesome, living independently, and it's 86 today.
86, bro. Think about that. That's a lot. That is a life full, bro. That's congratulations to her. What is her name again? I can't remember her name.
Sarah.
Sarah. I love it.
So
Man, congrats. Birthday to Sarah. Man, that's unbelievable. You should have told me. I'd have sent a little video to her.
it's all groovy. She
Yeah.
does not have internet. She does not have a computer. She doesn't have a cell phone. She says the Google is right up here.
Hey, congratulations to her. God, I love her. Oh, it's incredible.
So thank you again for bottom of my heart because I know you went through trials and tribulations with your mom and family, and you saw me through that. So you've been a great brother and friend, and that's one of the things I want to start off today so people understand. Talk about the real Marc Bagwell. That's Marc Bagwell, always putting people before himself. And today, Marc, it's about you because you are back. You're looking amazing. Fans have
Thank you.
been clamoring for you. The response on social media has been overwhelmingly positive. Everybody's saying how great you look. They've been seeing you through your various clips, which we're going to talk about. So let's rewind a little bit. And since we've last spoken, since the summer, how have things been going with you? Obviously, life has been turning up for you. And if you can let the fans know how life has been for you since the summer.
Man, it's been really wide open, but all really positive. But it is something I love to share with everybody, so everybody's kind of caught up. I haven't had a chance to really do that. I did it with Chris and Von Vliet, and but this is really going to be the first time I think that I've really had a chance to really explain the black bear, where I went and why and all that. So what happened was, as you know, I obviously had the car wreck, which was back in August of 2022, which is 2 years ago. Excuse me, 2020, August of
2020,
2020.
right, right.
Yeah. So August of this year was 2 years. So you got September, October, November. So we're talking 2 years and 3 months of my life on a walker to two crutches to one crutch to plateau. And when plateau happened, I was doing pretty good on juggling everything, and but real close to not juggling at all. And juggling at all meaning drinking and pills and Xanax to sleep, Xanax to to chill out. I thought I needed these drugs. That's what I like. Dallas always says, it's the story you tell yourself. And I told myself I need a Xanax to calm down. I need a Xanax to sleep. I need this. I need that. All this stuff you tell yourself. Your mind is very powerful. So you tell yourself over and over and over. You start believing that. So of course, you could not have told me any different that I had to have a Xanax sleep. So, with that said, I was juggling all that with the pills and drinking and trying to do good and had bad days, good days. And it got to where I wasn't juggling, to where the bad days came more often, like every drug person will tell you happens. And the final step for me was my knee just hit a complete roadblock and I plateaued. And when I plateaued, man, I started drinking and heavily. For the first time, I actually was drinking like an alcoholic would drink, but still, when I went to rehab, don't let me jump ahead. So I was drinking heavily and still I was taking my pills normal, or what was prescribed, which is still through the roof. But I was not drinking nowhere near like I used to. I was drinking much more. So, and I was having different effects from it, blacking out from drinking, which I've never done. Doing things I couldn't remember. And it wasn't from Xanax. It was from the combo probably, but heavily drinking. And videos getting shown of me by my friends and me going, when did you do that? And it would be last night. And I go, what? So just crazy stuff was happening. And I thought I was hiding it. And I wasn't hiding anything. It was very obvious to my family and friends what was going on, and to the world, probably with podcasts and my voice and sounding, slipping words in my eyes, and just me being stupid, and thinking I had, everybody fooled. So, enters my niece, Jonna Bagwell, and super,
Beautiful young
super.
lady, by the way. She loves you dearly, and she's in your corner 1,000%.
Oh man, super, super angel. Love her to death. Love her family. She's got a great husband, Chip, and she's got 3 babies now: Rhett, River, and Remy, and just 3 beautiful children and great husband. They got a great life, and I love them so much just to be part of it. And I'm just so thankful to be part of it. But so she enters my world and sees Uncle Mark, going from the Uncle Mark that had the big house and Buff Bagwell money and, great, all her friends coming over to the big mansion and the theater room. And my life was beautiful, she thought, and I thought too, but it was starting to fade in, of course. And then, so she's been in my life for a long time. And finally she sees Uncle Mark where he's hurting and himself. And so when she got with Dallas and Steve, they obviously love me too.
And
And
Steve works with Dallas, just to put people put kind of identities and who's here. So it's Dallas and his team. Steve working
yeah,
with Dallas. Your niece Jenna working with Dallas, and they're speaking together and they're figuring out how we're going to help Mark here, essentially, right?
absolutely perfect. So with that plan in place, they have this plan without me knowing, and I am going to get on a plane and fly to someone and somewhere they go. And so I'm thinking I'm going there, but they wanted to meet with me before I left. So I go down thinking I'm going to meet with them right before I leave. And I go down into an intervention. And it was, Dallas was there and Steve. And I, of course, me, I'm going to get out of this thing. Right. So I go in and going, what are you guys talking about? I'm flying to see Kim this weekend. And Jonna goes, no, you're not. You're flying to see, somebody else we know about. And so I was like, no, I'm not. And she goes, Uncle Mark, please. I mean, don't make me, don't embarrass me. I mean, I know you are. I got your Sky Miles number. You're going to Texas. And I go, so I said, okay, so now what? What are we doing? I was trying to be I was kind of mean or mad, like people get when they're getting, interventioned on. And then Dallas comes behind me and Dallas is there. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm sitting like, here we go, but not mad. I'm just like, I don't know what to do yet. I don't know what they're proposing or what's coming at me. So they get to it pretty quick and they say, look, we want you to, we want you to go to rehab. And it wasn't nicely presented at all. It was presented, but the outcome was, if I didn't go, let's just say the outcome was really bad. But I still had some answers that they had to answer, but they answered them all really good. And that was like, well, what about these dates I've got booked? And what about, all these signings I got and podcasts and interviews? And I got a lot of stuff lined up. and they had already gone through everybody I had and got it rescheduled, or Dallas did the podcast for me or the interviews. So they had every single thing answered that I was going to come out of my pockets with. So they were ready for me. And so, but the original deal was 90 days. And I said, guys, I'm not doing 90. I'm just not. And they go, oh yeah, you are. And I go, well, so we argued about that a little bit, but not much arguing. It was just, come on, man. I got to go 90. I'll go 30. And they were like, no, you got to do the full 90. And it's like unbelievable percentage amount of people that actually stay sober on going the full 90 days and not just going 30. It's actually amazing. I don't really know the numbers because nobody would believe me saying them anyway. But if you check, the percentage goes up drastically on success if the person goes 90 days. So I didn't learn that at first. So I'm thinking, so I go to Black Bear. I say yes to going. They take my phone from me right there. Without your phone, you've got no numbers. You got no way to call anybody. My phone is gone instantly.
I
And
can attest to that. That phone was off. There was no messages going through, nothing.
I mean, it was brutal. And I begged them to answer. And they did pretty good at first. But I finally got to my phone and like got back in touch with you. And you know me, man. I'm going to kick out and get back in touch with everybody. So I mean, everybody I need to. But I did see their point. There was a lot of baggage there that I didn't have to carry over to my new phone number that you have. And like on this kind of thing, I would throw my number out on this kind of thing because if the world's got my number, I can get booked more. But it ain't about that, man. There's something about it that you got to make it, interesting, to be able to get in touch with me. And so only friends and my true family and my true friends are the only ones that have this number. And that's the way I'm going to keep it. And that's the way it should be. It's not that I don't love all my fans, and it's not that I don't love people. It's just, it's just better this way. It's just much better the way I've got it. And I understand.
We talked about this many times before, as far as on our various episodes, that the whole world had the number at some point. Like you were so engaging with people that in a way, in order to start on a fresh page, we got to start on a fresh page. So we got to start with a clean number. I got two questions that come up, Mark, right away, not to interrupt your story here. But number one, how many days are we at as far as sobriety goes?
Okay, there's a little story that goes with that.
Please. There's always a story that goes with a story. I understand.
That's me. I got a story for it. It's always a good one. And I like how Tengu is what we call it. It's a company called Tengu. It's my aftercare. We call it aftercare, but it's basically rehab. But you're like an IOP, intensive outpatient. I can't remember what it stands. It's called IOP, but it basically means you're in rehab still, and you TP test and group meetings, 5 days a week and stuff, 3 hours a day, and all that stuff. So so to answer your question, I am at my sobriety date is the story. People count their days. I've been on AA meetings and at AA meetings several times, and people literally go 2,433 days today. And no offense, this is just everybody's sobriety is about their sobriety. It's about their recovery. But my opinion is that's bullshit. Nobody can keep up with 2,473 days, 10 hours, and 27 minutes. Nobody wants to do that. And if you are, I think personally that's tempting you to count when you're going to screw up. So
it's like carrying a weight. It's like carrying a giant weight all the time with you.
It is. So let me tell you how easy it is. They call it, when is your sober date? My sober date or sobriety date is August 27th. So do the math for me. If you got a calendar in front of you, it's 70 something. What is it? Do you have a calendar?
Let's take a look. See here. So you said when it was?
7/20/29.
August 27th?
Yes.
Okay. So we got 30 days 61,
20,
65. We
you
are,
count the
you're at 70, you're at 76, buddy.
76 days, baby. Yo, yeah. So, but just so you know why I explain such a deep story, it's a big argument in rehab. People don't like me saying what I just said, but on the board, they do. Some teachers do put sober date, and
Mm-hmm.
some put days clean. So it's not an argument to me. I just say, look, I don't like counting. That's my opinion. This is my sober. It's about me. I'm selfish about me. So that's what they teach you at rehab is it's time to worry about you. I've been a people pleaser for 34 years. And that ain't a horrible thing to be by no means. But if you start people pleasing over pleasing yourself, then it starts to become a problem. And that's what I was doing. I would people please to the point of I was not getting myself done. I wasn't taking care of Mark. And so that's what happens. So my sobriety date is 27th, and this is August 27th, and 76 days clean, bro. Do you know the definition of clean? I mean, we're talking not a half a Xanax, not a sip of beer, not, I mean, nothing, bro. I mean, I
Pure,
am
pure.
pure. 76 days, and I feel phenomenal. I act phenomenal. I drive my car differently. I talk to people differently. I dress and sound different. I think different thoughts. I I enjoy life so much. Just going to the grocery store or something is like, man, this is really so different. I haven't been clean like this, Jonathan. The best way to say it honestly is since I can remember. I mean, I really can. I mean, I guess 15, 16, but I don't know. I really don't, man. To be totally sober. And if it was, it may have been, I don't get me wrong, it may have been 5 days or 10 days, but never more than 30 days. I can never remember being sober.
Now, I got a second part then for you because I want to be able to explain to the fans out there to understand the journey and coming there and the life of a professional wrestler. And you mentioned about the car accident before, but talking to me about just the wrestling side of things and the toll that goes on the body and the bumps and the grinds. Like there's some days, Mark, some weeks, some months, some years. You're out there 300 plus days a year taking those bumps for so many years. And when you combine those bumps, and for anybody who's had any kind of catastrophic injury that's had surgery, you broke your neck. That's a really serious thing. And anybody who's gone through a car accident, I talked to you off air that I had one pretty recently. Somebody T-boned into me. It's as much
Yes.
it's as much about the physical part as the mental part. Because when you get into an accident, I know when I've had a sports injury or I've had a car accident, it's as much about the physical pain as replaying it in my mind and becomes a mental game. And even when your body starts to heal, the mind doesn't heal as well. And unfortunately, we go to other things to try to heal our mind. Can you relate to this?
Absolutely. And bro, I mean, I can't tell you how much of that was in rehab. So back to rehab. I enter on August 26th. It was a Friday. The 27th was a Saturday. And so that's why my sobriety date's the 27th, because I did use the day I went to rehab because I probably took a Xanax or something that morning before going to the intervention I didn't know was coming. So, and I know I drank beer that morning, I'm sure. So, but anyway, so I'm at it's called Black Bear Recovery. I went to there, and it's in North Georgia mountains place, log cabins that you had room in, 4 guys to a cabin, no TVs, no radios, no phones. There was one TV on the entire place.
No internet?
But for the first, there's one TV on the entire grounds, and it was at our ballroom, and we could watch one movie a week. There was a movie night, so I watched 4 movies in a month. And I bet you I didn't watch but 2 of those because I was just doing something. Man, I went to get better. This place you can graduate, you go to levels, and there's 4 levels you go to. Well, you know me. When I dove into it, I got to level 5. They don't even have a level 5. They had to mark out the 4 and put a 5 in a Sharpie. And you can only get a couple of days of 5 because then you graduate. Because nobody goes past 30 because insurance don't pay. And that's all Black Bear does is 30. So I did every class I get through. I've never finished anything in my life like school wise. I mean, I finished, but just because I just wiggled my way through it. This I finished with. If it was a way to get honors, I had honors at Black Bear Recovery. But I learned, and the reason I learned is because I couldn't poke holes through it. I couldn't poke any holes through it, man. I couldn't find nothing wrong with it. Is that now? I could not find anything wrong with it. Can you still see me?
I can see you. Yeah, it's sorry. There we go.
Uh, uh, my phone's ringing. Sorry. So anyway, so yeah, so I couldn't poke any holes in it at all, man. So I graduated um, on see August, September, on October 26th. I graduated, and you got to give a speech and everything. It's called transformations. You do transformation. So you give a speech. I'd give anything to have that speech recorded. To the point I talked to the staff, and they all, of course, loved my speech and standing ovation and all that stuff. But there's no proof of it. I want to see it. So when I left, they started doing that again. They were doing it for a while, and they quit doing it. I go, I can't believe you guys don't have those because I saw 3 transformations while I was there. I was in the 4th one, but I saw 3, and they were phenomenal. I mean, how they don't record those and show them to the guys people that just got there, and show them what people turned out and what they say that you're going to see in 3 weeks. It's a whole different person you see. They saw a completely different human when I was up there 4 weeks later. And, for a person that didn't want nothing to do with this place, and I don't have a problem. And, I wasn't that bad, but people do come in that bad. I went in, iffy like that. But then when I saw that there was no way for me to wiggle through it, man, I took it on. I learned words I never even knew before, like pause, PAWS. That means that's post-acute withdrawal symptoms, or maybe syndrome, but it's the same thing. Symptom and syndrome is the same. So that means, like right now, let's say I started sweating and feeling like I had what was a withdrawal. Those can happen up to 18 months after you get clean.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm only 2 months and some change clean.
Right.
So for 17 more months, roughly 16 more, I could have that feeling still. Now the catch behind that is, if I would have learned that one of my other rehabs, I've gone to 5 now. This Black Bear was my 5th rehab, and
Okay.
and none of them, all of them, I could poke holes in. So I just thought I could get clean, 30 days, come home. That ain't what it's about, bro. And I learned this time not to, by pause, by PAWS, post-acute withdrawal syndrome, things like that. Things like mindfulness, things like boundaries, things like, sobriety, recovery. Those words that I can use in sentence form now that I never could before, great.
These are beautiful terms, and it's beautiful lifestyle images that you're putting in for yourself.
One of my favorite words is process, boundaries, balance, mindful. It's just gratefulness. Just the words recovery, sobriety. I get chill bumps talking about it. I learned, and I never really used my brain like that through school. Like I said, I played ball. My parents were rich, and I was going to work for them. So I get out of there. Everything's great. I graduate, Black Bear with honors, and go on to, about halfway through Black Bear, I called John up and I said, listen, I'm not trying to get out of the 90 days. I want you to know that. I said, but
This is your brother?
This is John up.
Oh, John. Okay, your niece. Yes.
I call her and I go, I'm not trying to get out of this or anything. So I don't want Steve, which is, the main, we call him Yoda. Steve is Yoda because he's the brains behind everything. He's the guy behind the curtain.
He's in the
He,
DDP team. Yes.
yes, he is the man. He is
Yes.
it. So Steve is kind of got his hands on me, fully. And him and Johnny together, they love each other and they really accepted Johnny in, arms wide open. And so um, I tell her, I said, listen, Black Bear is done with you after 30 days. And I know you guys were talking about 90. Well, Black Bear sets you up with your aftercare. And of course, we find a place that is literally one of the main top places everybody goes is this place called Tangu, Tangu, and it's right on Windy Hill Road, right in the middle of Marietta, where I was born and raised. So, and it's 2 miles from the crib, the accountability crib.
Amazing.
So, absolutely perfect. So I literally go from Black Bear for 30 days. On day 31, I was at Tangu. Day 31, bro. So I have been in rehab for 76 consecutive days. And keep in mind, on day 31, I was on camera 18/7. I mean, 18 hours a day, 7 days a week, because the camera's on me in that an accountability crib.
Yes.
So I'm accountable. I've been accountable for 76 days, bro. Now, if everybody else that finishes 30 days, they're not accountable if they're at their apartment and sober living. They're not accountable if they're living off campus, but they're of course they got to pee, test, and all that. But they're not being accountable. I've been held accountable, bro, all the time, and I love it. I don't care. I'm with it. I love it.